this game. Not too much else he can do except lift off his base and fly away like he does every single game. But even his natural has been taken by Andrew at this point. He does have this extractor up, but looks like he has 4 guys on there, maybe in 5 or so. I'm not sure. He could probably take a guy off that gas. Yeah, still going for a lot of mass Hydralisk. Going for the Queen's Nest now. It's pretty late for going for a Queen's Nest, but again, not too bad. He is sitting on a lot of minerals. Probably get down another hatchery at some point. I know he has this one down here, building some drones. He doesn't even really have to. He should just transfer these ones up here, because these minerals are pretty close to being mined out. He could probably just take all these workers and move them down there. Building more lurkers. Again, that is not very effective versus this army. But James's army composition, it looks like he has even more medics than he does marines. So he could probably stop building medics for a very long time. Wow, takes out the SCV and the missile turret without even being cancelled. So that was a good placement on Andrew's part. That's interesting. Shoots all the way up this high ground right here. Able to take out this missile turret from long range. Yeah, there's just really not too much else that James can do in this game. This army looks like he'll be able to clean up everything that he has here. He doesn't even have any tanks out anymore. He's not even building any more tanks. He has plenty of minerals and gas. He just has this one tank down here. Andrew looks like he has about 5 lurkers and then at least 2 groups of Hydralisks here. Still looks like he's at 0-0 upgrades, so James's Marines will be a bit more effective than they would otherwise. That missile turret got taken out right as it started, so that was a complete waste of 75 minerals. Yeah, Andrew really could just sit outside the base here and just wait, because soon James will be pretty starved for minerals. I did build a wave of Mutalisks there. Again, Mutalisks probably not the best against this army. They're light units, they're good for harassment, they're quick, they could take out workers pretty quick. But versus Marines, Mutalisks are just not very effective at all. Sees this missile turret going down right here, probably will be able to kill it, yeah. I don't know what James is thinking, keeps trying to build that. Spreading out his army, which is actually pretty nice because both these Mutalisks and these Lurkers are going to be able to do splash damage, so you don't want to have them all clumped up in one giant ball. He is making more tanks, he's going for more Wraiths. You should probably move this tank up to about here and then sweep over here, be able to take out a lot of these guys that are burrowed. I don't think he's even used sweep once. He hasn't. Wow, Andrew has an entire control group of Mutalisks, so he loses 4 almost instantly. There's 5. Yeah, as you can see, it's not very effective versus an army of Marines and missile turrets. He should be sending his Hydralisks in. There's really not much these Mutas can do, except move over here and go around to the back, take out the workers. But even at this point, taking out the workers wouldn't be very effective, because he's pretty much mined out. There's not too much the workers are going to be doing for him. And Andrew is using up a lot of resources on these Mutalisks. They are just not the right unit for this. Needs to keep building up a massive army of Hydralisks. Yeah, he's still building Mutas. He does have his hive up now. I don't see any hive tech going down anywhere, which would be nice to see, of course. Maybe some Ultralisks would be very, very effective against this army. And finally, Andrew does group up his Hydralisks, or Mutalisks, sorry, and move down here to try to take out some workers. Able to kill off a Wraith, and it looks like, no, not the tank. He did some damage to the tank, though. Gets a control tower on this starport, but there's just no way James can come back from this game. Ever since his expansion was denied, it looks like he does have a natural up here that I guess Andrew didn't realize he has his own. Probably right over here. Yeah, Andrew's army is just so mobile, though. He's going to be able to take out these Marines no problem. He'll probably only lose 1 or 2 mutas at most. And he's at a very good angle here. He's got his entire ground army sitting on this side, and that was pretty nice. Oh, it's the detector. I thought it was James using scanner sweep, but I forgot that he doesn't use that, as he has his comsat sitting here with full energy and never used it once against an army of burrowed Hydralisks right outside his base. Just getting up some harassment, trying to supply block James. He just ran out of minerals, so these SCVs don't even matter anymore. Yeah, James sending in his units one at a time, and it looks like this game is just about over here. just some final comments, I guess, before this game ends. Probably would have been able to kill James a lot quicker if he got this Greater Spire. Would have been able to make Guardians, which would have been thousands of times more effective than these Mutalisks here, and much more cost effective as well, because keep in mind, after every Mutalisk that dies, that is 100 gas. 100 minerals is not really that big of a deal, but 100 gas takes a while to get. And that's all the gas that you're pumping into these Mutalisks that aren't really doing too much damage. Because think about it, whenever he goes to attack, maybe you'll kill off a tank, which is a good amount of resources, but he'd probably only kill 3, 4, or 5 Marines before he pulls back because he's losing too many. And that is, what, 250 minerals compared to maybe 500 or 600 minerals and 500 or 600 gas. These Mutalisks are just not being cost effective. He does have Cloak for these Wraiths, so he will be able to take these out. It looks like Andrew probably still doesn't even have the speed on his on his Overlords. Bringing in the Lurkers not a good choice, but against James, I mean, the contain that he had on him with the Burrow was just too much for him to handle. If this was a more like fair fight between two base, James at 2 base and Andrew at 2 base, I'd say this game probably would have gone to James just for the unit comp, because the Marines are very effective against the army of Mutalisks that were over here, and the tanks were very effective against the Hydralisks and the Lurkers, and he had missile turrets all over. So would have been a game in James' favor if it wasn't for the lack of use on scanner sweep and lack of aggression, really. Andrew's base over here, this base here, this base here, he has absolutely no defense on any of these bases. He's just kept his whole army outside the whole time. And yeah, even with the huge army of Mutalisks you saw, and all those Hydralisks and Lurkers, the unit composition is just better for James. He didn't have nearly as much. He's sitting on 1 base, he has 9 minerals left, and Andrew's on 3 bases, and he wasn't able to take out James with his entire army. So as you can see, it's really not very effective, this Muta Hydra army. If it was Mutas and Lings, then maybe that would have been better. You can use the Zerglings to rush in, take out the tanks without getting too much damage on your Lings, since the tanks can't attack in that melee range. But at this point, James is just dead. I'd like to see a GG from James instead of lifting up his buildings and flying them away. Probably what we're going to see, actually, since this replay's not got too much left. Andrew really sitting on a lot of minerals and just not nearly enough gas. He didn't even get the extractor down here at his Vespene on his 3rd, which would have been a good idea since he's going for all these mutas. But yeah, oh, James. Oh well, the game is over. Be able to intercept that with these mutas. Yeah, they're going to see it immediately. Yeah, so mutas and Hydras not effective at all versus this army, but the sheer numbers that he was able to pump out gave Andrew the game here. The Lurkers, not a very good idea versus tanks. Hydras, not a very good idea versus tanks. Mutalisks, not a good idea versus Marines. So maybe if we would have seen some Zergling play and getting some Ultralisks, faster hive tech would have been much better. James realizes that his flying building has been spotted, gives the GG. Andrew says GG as well. I'm going to stick around after the game for some of the stats here. Yeah, this is the end of the replay. I think it gives me stats for the game after. Yes, it does. Alright. So what I wanted to show was, yeah, the game was so close in total score, because even though Andrew had those 3 bases up, his army was just not effective. You can see the units even had more points for James over Andrew, and Andrew obviously made more units. You can see here, he made 182 units compared to the 113 for James. And a lot of these were in Mutas and Hydras, which are not very, not the cheapest things you can make as Zerg. He didn't even make very many Zerglings. So these are all expensive units you see here in the 182, and he lost a lot of units. He lost even more than James did. He lost almost as many as James produced in the entire game. And James, with less units, was able to kill more. So unit composition obviously was important in that game. Everything else is not really that big of a deal, except the resources here. You can see had double the minerals and gas mined and spent for the game as James did. Should have had 3 times really, but he got that third up kind of late. Not a big deal though. He was able to contain James and deny his expansion. Probably, maybe would have seen this game go in a bit different of a direction if James would have realized he had that natural right at his base. But the Mutalisc Harassment would probably have been able to take that out as well. So, yep, that was a StarCraft Brood War commentary between James and Andrew. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.